If you have disposable income and you want to put money into Bitcoin, limit it to 3 to 5% of your invested assets, right? Please don't put all of your investment money into these high risk things that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Right? So that's probably one of the biggest things is listening to social media trends because our friends are invested in this new hot thing and we're like, I don't want to get left behind.
Yeah.
Right? But then our friends don't know nothing about it. And
Right.
now we're all losing out on money.
I'm not afraid to write a brand new story. And what changes find their way to me, I can keep it moving. I'm not afraid to celebrate my glory. And when challenges grace my path, I know I can face another day. Inside, I rise, daring to learn. With Fox after 40.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Fox After 40, where we focus on women's wellness from head to toe, sponsored by Curlmix. And today we have none other than Tremaine Wills, a financial expert and the founder and CEO of Mind Over Money. We're going to talk about managing your finances over 40 and how to get you the most wealth possible. This episode is all about transforming your finances for retirement. All right, so let's get into it. Tremaine, so I know you're a money expert. Can you please tell the people your credentials, your background, and how you got here?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. I am an investment advisor, financial planner, certified financial education instructor, right? I have been in the personal finance space for almost 12 years now.
Okay.
And I really came into it to help women get their finances in order. I grew up with a mother who was very service oriented, that was always pouring her energy and effort into everybody else. And I thought, man, how much more could she do if she knew how to manage her money? Mm-hmm. And that's what inspired me to learn more so that I could help her do more.
So do you have clients over 40?
I do. Most of my clients are actually over 40.
Ah, okay. Wonderful. I want y'all to know, if y'all look at her and think she's 22, okay, she's closer to 40 than you think, all right?
So much closer.
So much closer. I won't reveal her age for her, but she's definitely not in her 20s, okay? I was like, how old are you, girl? You 22? She's like, I'm older than you, girl. I'm like, oh, my bad. Okay. So picture me this.
Yeah.
I just had my 40th birthday. What should my finances look like?
I know people gonna hate this answer, but it depends.
Of course.
It depends. I think there's so much pressure for us to have a certain dollar amount in our accounts and certain things that we should be doing. And for many of us, when we hit that milestone, any milestone really, we think, am I behind? Am I doing enough, right? And so the biggest thing is to think about, what do I want my life to look like when I'm done working, and create a strategy from there. So if I have to give an answer, it's, do you have enough savings set aside so that you can stop working? Do you have a strategy where you're putting 20 to 30% of your money into retirement accounts? Do you have a strategy where you can turn your active income into passive income so that you can stop working, right? Because at the end of the day, that's all retirement is. It's our ability to stop trading our time for money and put that money to work so that we don't have to.
I love that. You made retirement sound like something that you should desire and not like something you should be afraid of.
Yeah.
Because say that again, retirement is
turning our active income into passive income so that the money's working and we don't have to.
I want to retire right now.
Listen, we all do. We all do.
Okay, so so I love that. Is there an approach I should be taking to investing after 40?
Yeah. We want to get to a place where we're not afraid, right? So the approach should be, how can I make this easy to replicate?
Yeah.
Something I understand that I can turn on autopilot without having to learn or become an expert about investing, right? And especially for women in our community, we have all the degrees, we're super knowledgeable, right? And we're always the go-to person that everybody comes to for answers. And so when we're not confident about investing, we might take a pause, jumping all the way in because we don't have that same confidence, right? But for us, if we can get a strategy in place where it's just okay, I know $800 a month is going into this account and it's invested in these particular funds and I don't have to touch it or become somebody that's watching the stock market every day. That can be a simple thing that will help you get to retirement.
Okay. So imagine I bring in about $10,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And I'm just doing that because I know our customers are more mature and they have more disposable income. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to go for the $50K. I'm going to go for the 100. I'm sorry, $50K a year. I want to go for the $100,000 a year. Mm-hmm. What should that breakout of that $10,000 a month look like?
Oh, that's so good. That's good. So off the top, 20 to 30% towards investments.
Okay, so I'm putting $2,000 a month toward investment. What kind of investments am I doing? Roth IRA, 401k. Am I doing angel investing? Am I doing the stock market? Am I doing what's this $2,000 a month?
This is good. So the first place should be 401k. We want to make sure we get all of the benefits that come with our compensation package. From there, if you're able to put money into IRAs, do it, especially if you can get into a self-directed IRA. That is a game changer for a lot of us that want to have access to real estate and to be able to invest in companies and accelerate.
When you say self-directed.
Self-directed IRA.
Yeah. Like, so I bank with Schwab, right? Mm-hmm. And they have like these IRA accounts. I have like a regular IRA, like a Roth IRA. Are you saying those are the self-directed because I get to pick what investments are going? No. Okay, so tell me.
That's a good question. Okay, so a self-directed IRA is a special type of individual retirement account where you can put more than just stocks, bonds, mutual funds inside of it. This is not available on traditional platforms, right? This is often offered in places where now you can put your ownership in a company or your ownership in real estate inside of this account and also create some additional tax benefits. So this might be where it's time to hire an advisor to help you put together that advanced strategy. But if I'm of a mature age and I have $10,000 coming in a month, it's time to hire somebody to get the most advanced strategy to help me out.
Okay. So the 2000s, we're talking, the first part of that was 401k.
401k, IRAs, if you're able to contribute to those. I also would encourage folks having a brokerage account. Because there is no cap on how much money you can put in a brokerage. There are also amazing things you can do once you grow your brokerage account to $100,000, like borrow against it. Similar to how you can borrow against the equity in your home, there are lines of credit you can borrow against your investments.
Against my brokerage account?
And it still will be invested.
That is so interesting. Okay, so I didn't know that. And I bank with Schwab, and this is not sponsored by Schwab at all.
This is available at Schwab.
Yes, I have a brokerage account, but it's like I don't use. I'm embarrassed to say. I'm like, I don't do nothing with it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I'm glad that you're giving me this advice. Thank you so much. I hope this is helpful for the folks out there. So keep going. Sorry, brokerage account.
Yeah. And then kind of like once you get down past those tiers, it's really going to depend on what your overall strategy is, right? Mm-hmm. Is your goal to accumulate a bunch of money to be able to pass money on? Because then you might want to look at investing in insurance products. Is it, hey, I want to have all this money so I can spend it all in retirement, right? And my kids got to figure it out for themselves, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so those nuances are going to depend on who the person is.
And so in that 2000, should insurance come out of that 2000 or no?
I say no.
No. Okay. So the 2000 in investments. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now what's next? We got $8,000 left.
Housing. You want to keep your housing under 30% if possible. And I know, depending on where we live, right? Rent and mortgages are high. But if possible, we want to keep those living housing expenses low so that we have more discretionary income to do the things we love. Yeah. Right? And then when we think about those groceries and gas, utilities, all of those kinds of things, keeping those under 20% so that way we have space to do what we want to do.
Gotcha. So 3,000 is going toward the house. 2,000 is going towards, everything else dealing with the house, the food, the groceries, utilities, etc. Mm-hmm. So we've got about 3,000 left.
3,000. Yeah, if you're doing 20% in investments, you got 3,000 left. If you're doing 30% towards investments, you have 2,000 left.
So you prefer to go heavier with the investments.
I want you to go heavier
because that's it's gonna free up your time. Gotcha. Okay, so all right, let's do this math again. 3,000 in investments. Mm-hmm. 3,000 in house.
Yep.
2,000 in like month-to-month expenses and food. Mm-hmm. So we're left with $2,000.
$2,000. Now this is where you can have your fun and take your trips and have fun with everybody else, do your entertainment.
What about the insurance money? Where does that come from?
You're going to have to pull it out of that 2000.
Dang. Okay. If you've enjoyed this episode of Fox After 40 and want to get notified about the next episode when it drops, make sure to go to curlmix.com and sign up for our mailing list. We'll notify you whenever a new episode comes out. You know there's an age-old debate around insurance.
I just had this yesterday. I just had a debate about insurance yesterday.
Ooh, and where do you sit in this insurance debate? And what is the debate?
Yeah, so first let me say I am licensed for investments. I'm also licensed for insurance.
Oh, wonderful.
So this is not to say people don't need insurance. However, insurance is not an investment, right? So like there are insurance products that are phenomenal that can accomplish so many different goals. But when you're looking at the primary objective of insurance, it is to transfer risk, right? We don't want to not have money to pass on to our family, so we get a death benefit from the insurance. I believe that most people need to have some type of insurance to accomplish whatever goals they have, but insurance itself is not an investment.
So of that $2,000 that you have to play with, how much would you actually give to the insurance?
It depends, right? And I think the other piece of this is, should I get term or should I get whole, right? And if I have lots of disposable income and my objective is to create a nest egg that I can pass on, you probably do want to get a whole life policy. Okay. Because that's going to stay with you. You don't have to worry about the term expiring. And there's lots of different creative things you can do with the cash value inside of it. Yeah. So it is a great supplement to build on whatever strategy you have, but insurance itself is not an investment.
Okay. So really term is not useful in your opinion?
It depends. It depends, right? If I'm a young person that has dependents and I want to make sure that if anything happens to me before they reach 18 or 21, I might get a term policy, right? Okay. Just to make sure there's money available for them. But if I'm of advanced age and I'm in great health, term policies are going to cost more, right? For many of them, there aren't those added incentives of being able to borrow against the cash value. So term has its place in particular strategies, but if I can afford a whole life policy and I can qualify for permanent insurance, that's going to be the better route.
So if you're over 40, you should be looking at whole life insurance.
You should.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. That's really, really good to know. And if it's over a certain income, it doesn't really matter. You think that if you're over 40, it should be considering whole life.
If you can afford it, you should get whole life.
Who do you think can't afford whole life? Or what's their income look like?
If my income is below $50,000 a year, I probably don't need to put my money into a whole life policy. I need to put my money into term and then figure out how to make more money and then get a permanent policy in place. Because I might spend up too much of my discretionary income on the policy, and then if I can't maintain the payments, it lapses, and then I throw money away.
That's really, really good. What are some things that you've seen people do to kind of mess up their finances? Like when they come to you and you're like, oh, baby, like you did this, you should have done this, this, and this, and this.
It's the trying to figure it out by myself for too long, right? There's so many ways to build a good strategy, and there's so many different shiny objects, right? There was a point where everybody was excited about Bitcoin, right? And they were like,
hey, no, I'm kidding. No, I didn't get on the train. I got a little bit, but not that much. Okay.
And that's fine, right? There is a place for speculation in your portfolio, right? And speculation is just like higher level risk. And so if you have disposable income and you want to put money into Bitcoin, limit it to 3 to 5% of your invested assets, right? Please don't put all of your investment money into these high risk things that you don't understand. Right? So that's probably one of the biggest things is listening to social media trends because our friends are invested in this new hot thing and we're like, I don't want to get left behind. Right? But then our friends don't know nothing about it. And now we're all losing out on money. So it would be, if you get a strategy in place that is nice and boring and easy to repeat, stick with it. And if you want to stick your pinky toe, out in some of these other things, let it be a very small amount where if you do lose it, it doesn't ruin your financials.
Okay. So things that people have messed up on their finances, right? So waiting too long to get someone. When you say you should get someone, I don't know how much I should be spending, right? If my discretionary income is only $2,000 a month, how much am I really paying you to divvy up, the $3,000 that I have?
That's good.
And where do I start with there?
That's good. So there's different types of financial advisors you can work with, right? I would say the first person you should get is a financial planner.
Okay.
This is going to be somebody that's going to create the full strategy for you, where then you can sit down and decide, do I want to hire somebody to invest on my behalf, or do I want somebody to set it up for me, and then it just goes on automatic contributions, right? For most people, that is all you need. And so a financial plan right now can range between like $2,500 and $10,000 one time. And this is something that you can continue to go off as long as it's a really good strategy and you don't have like major changes in your finance. Like, of course, you might pay off your home and sending kids to college and things like that. That could have a small tweak, but a good plan is going to take those things into consideration.
What is a good plan? And what does that mean?
Yeah, so a comprehensive financial plan takes into consideration everything you want to accomplish with your money, right? If you want to travel regularly, if you want to send children to school, you want to start accounts for the grandbabies, if you want to help out with aging parents, right? That puts your dollars to the categories it needs to go to so you can accomplish all those things. Because we have the goals we want to reach, but for many of us, we don't know how we're going to get there. The comprehensive financial plan gives you the how.
Okay. What does it look like to hire a financial planner?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would go to either the CFP board, so it's the Certified Financial Planning Board, and you can find a financial planner that you can work with. Or you can visit Tremaine Wills.
I love it. Okay, shameless plug.
Get started there.
Okay, wonderful. So let's say I'll go on this board. I find a person I want to work with. I book a session. Am I paying for that first session?
It depends. So sometimes there's a free discovery call. Sometimes you'll pay for the discovery call. There are also advisors or financial planners that offer hourly based consultations. Then they might offer engagement or project based consultations.
How do you know, so say someone is certified, but how do you know you shouldn't hire them? Because I would think, okay, I'm getting ready to drop, let's say I'm in the middle, $5,000 on a financial planner. Is this all at once, or is it like usually structured? Is it like monthly or for a year, and then you get the plan in place, or is it like, I don't know how the structure. So let's say we're gonna spend this $5,000.
Yeah.
How do I know I'm gonna get the return that I'm expecting on this partnership? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you sitting down budgeting with me? Because I can budget for myself. I can open big accounts for myself. Like,
that's a good question.
What are we doing?
That's a good. So what I do for my clients is we pull together everything, right? So I'm talking to you about, what does that fundamental strategy look like, right? I'm looking over to see, hey, you're spending too much taking care of everybody else. Cut this back, right? We're putting together your tax planning strategy. We're putting together how much money you're putting towards education funding. And so while I can't guarantee investment returns, I can guarantee that if you stick to this plan, the likelihood of you succeeding is going to fall within a particular range, right?
Yeah.
So you'll want to ask the planner questions. How does your process work, right? Are there going to be meetings where we check in to follow up? What kind of support do you offer? Because some advisors will go down as deep and help you put together a debt payoff strategy and help you put together that initial budget. And other advisors are like, I'm not doing that. You have to come to me with how much discretionary money is available, and I'll tell you what to do with that, right? So when you are hiring a financial professional, you should be interviewing them, asking them those kinds of questions, just how like we ask how folks got started in their professions. What are the types of clients you work with that you're comfortable with? And make sure you feel good about talking to this person, because this is personal, right?
Yeah.
For many of us, we carry some level of financial trauma. And if we already feel bad that we are behind, and that there are things that we want to do that a financial advisor might not agree with, you want to be able to have an honest conversation, so that if the advisor doesn't agree, they're going to give you a reason why and not just say, don't do that. So it's very much about having an interview to make sure that it's a good fit, because you're telling me how to direct my money, and that's going to impact my quality of life. How
do you feel about platforms like mint.com? Because I upload all my financial information there, and it's telling me how I'm spending. It's not. I don't know if it's really making suggestions. You can set your own budgets, but it is giving me my spending patterns over the year, which I think is really helpful.
I love Mint. I love Mint, and so I'm sad that it's gone away. Right? But
when you say it's gone, I thought I logged into it like last month. What you mean?
Well, it's going away.
It's going away.
Yeah.
When is it? Okay.
They're pivoting to something different.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
The stuff shifts like that, right? But the good news is that there are other apps and resources that do something very similar, right? Like you have personal capital, you have you need a budget, right? So like there's other apps that do it, but many financial advisors also have those resources for you to track, right?
If you've gotten any value from listening to Fox After 40, you learned a beauty tip, you've gotten advice, you shared the episode with a friend, please do us a favor and leave us a review on Spotify and Apple. It goes a very long way in helping us continue to build the podcast. I have a question. How much money is enough money?
Ooh, it's never enough. I'm just kidding.
You always need more.
Enough is, it boils down to how much money do you need every month where you don't have to work, right? So if right now I have $10,000 a month, right? How am I going to turn the assets that I have into that $10,000 a month for the rest of my life? And so when I have enough money either in stocks or if I have real estate that is paying me rental money, if I have $10,000 coming in and I don't have to work anymore, then you have enough, right? But for many of us, we don't know how to turn those assets that we have into cash every month. And so until you know how the assets are going to turn into cash, it won't feel like you have enough. But some of us are closer than we know. We just don't know how to get to that number every month.
Is there a number that you find people need on average a month? Like, and what is the retirement age? Like, and here's why I'm asking this, because I think we have a longer life expectancy than people think, right? And do you happen to know what that is?
I don't know. I plan for 90.
Okay.
I think right now somewhere between like 79 and 80 is how long people are expected to live, but I plan for 90 because I don't want us to run out of money.
Oh, I love that. So if you plan for 90, most people are retiring in their 60s. So that means you really got to figure out how to make money for at least 25 to 30 years.
Yeah, and the original retirement system was not designed to pay out that long, right? And so if we think about the fears surrounding Social Security fund running out and how many of us don't have enough saved in our 401k accounts and just not understanding it at all, it can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be.
And that's why you're like, you can't save your way to retirement. You have to invest.
You have to
get the other 30 years of income. I get it. Because you're not going to save enough for 30 years in the next 20 or 30. You got to invest that money.
Because you literally have to save every penny.
Yeah. And so you said the best investments is the 401k, right? What about like real estate? Like, is that okay? That's a good one.
I believe that if we are truly building a good comprehensive financial strategy, you need multiple streams of income, right?
Okay.
And it's not just the investments. Even though that's my area of expertise, I'm always going to say, hey, what real estate can we add to this, right? Because that's another asset class that should your investment portfolio take a dip or not produce the amounts, you have this other thing you can draw cash from every month. So, and then I'm always a fan of business, right? You want to have a way to create wealth. And for many of us, a lot of my clients talk about retirement, but then they also mention the passion projects that they have and the things they want to do. And I'm like, so you're really not going to retire, are you? Right. But they're moving into a way to make money, but it's also passion filled. So it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Right. And for many of them, those are the businesses that they'll be starting when they retire. So it's not just the investment account. It's not just the 401k. It's like, how can I make the assets I have bring in the money I need every month?
I love that. I have another question. Trust.
Yes.
Everyone's like, you need a trust. You need a trust. I mean, but do you really? Like, do you really need a trust? And can you speak to that?
Yeah. So I think of a trust as a way to tell the money what to do when I'm no longer here. Right. At a bare minimum, everybody should have a will. But once you pass away, the will is public information. And so if I want my money to move the way I want it to move and I don't want anybody to know what it's doing, put it in a trust.
Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Okay. What is the process for setting up a trust? How much should I be expecting to spend for something like this? And like how is this being managed? Is it the attorney who put it together? Like, what is the trust? Is it just a bank account? Like, help us understand what a trust is.
Yeah, this is good. So the trust itself is going to create a separate entity, right? So think of it as its own tax ID, separate from yourself, right? You need to get either with an attorney or an online platform to create the trust documents. So then you can register it, get it notarized, all that great stuff. then you can open up accounts for the trust. Right. So the same way,
It's its own EIN kind of, or its own social security number, essentially. Yes.
Okay. It becomes its own separate person.
That is the best. No one's ever explained it so simply. They make it seem like it's, I don't know, mythical thing in the sky. A trust. No, it is just like you have your social security number for yourself, your EIN for your business. You get a tax ID for your trust. Okay, gotcha. So then when you go to the bank accounts, the banks, let's say I'm going to JP Morgan Chase or whatever, I'm giving them my trust
documents
to open it, and I'm giving them the number associated with my trust. Wonderful. Okay. So keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. And so the trust documents dictate what's supposed to happen inside of the trust. So if the documents say that 50% of these assets go towards this person to help with this thing, when the money goes into the account, it's directed according to the documents of the trust.
Gotcha. So it might be a bank account, but then
I might also have an investment account. I might also have real estate property that's in there, right?
Mm-hmm. And so then I can send money from that account to my other accounts, or no?
Inside the trust?
Yeah. Like if I want to transfer money from the trust to, like, I don't know, my kid's bank account.
So it depends on the type of trust, right? If I have a revocable trust, then I can make changes and pull things in and out of it. Mm-hmm. But to get the most incentives, you probably want to create an irrevocable. And that means once it goes in, it's in. Right? So we don't want to treat it like another person that I'm just moving money back and forth. I really want to create a separate empire that has all these assets that I can direct and tell it what to do.
Gotcha. So if you let's say you sell a property for a lot of money, and you want to make sure your kids get some of that money, you put it in the irrevocable trust, and it's just going to sit in that account until.
So the money can be invested inside of that account and earn more money. You can buy more property with that. You can do all the things you want to do just inside the trust.
It's like window shopping. You're looking at it. It look good. You just can't touch it.
That's right. That's right.
That's good. I'm so angry that I've been in finances this long and talking to people about money, and no one has simply explained this as simple as you just have. Tremaine, is so valuable. It's so good.
Sometimes what we do as professionals is we like to keep the conversation up here. So people think they have to pay us to get the information. But when you're good at what you do, you can bring it down and people still want to pay you for the information.
How long? You said you were a teacher.
Yeah.
How long were you a teacher for?
4 years.
And that's why you make it so plain. That's why you do this so good. Oh my gosh. Tremaine, is there anything you want to leave the people with? I have more questions. We're going to have more questions after y'all have questions in about this show. Put them in the comments. We would love to bring Tremaine back to ask her some of these questions because this is just so good. But is there anything you want to leave the people with?
I would just say don't feel overwhelmed or stressed if you feel like you're behind, right? We have this grit and tenacity about us that we can figure things out if we need to. We just have to be committed to figuring out our finances.
Be committed to figuring out your finances, y'all. So good. I'm going to go back and look at my budget, see how I've allocated things. I want to go back and talk to my attorney about this trust because it seemed like this elusive thing. Oh, wait, we didn't say how much you should be paying to get it set up. Do you know?
Yeah, so there's some websites where you can start a trust for as little as $600.
Wow.
But if you want to have a solid, comprehensive strategy, you need to sit down with a trust attorney. And that's going to be several thousand. What would you not pay for a trust? I would have the conversation with the trust attorney to find out what types of structures they've put together and what's possible. And if I want that, I'm willing to pay whatever's required. Okay. All right. So it's a big range. It's a big range. Would you spend more than $25,000 on a trust? I would if I wanted to protect assets and I knew this was going to help me save in taxes and it was going to make sure that my kids didn't lose all the money I made. I see. Okay. Lessons. I heard you loud and clear. I'm not telling y'all to go spend $25,000 on a trust, okay? That's not what I meant. I was just trying to get, you go to the extreme so you can get an answer. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that was helpful. Thank you so much, Tremaine, for coming on the pod. This was incredible. And thank you guys for watching Fox After 40. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And let us know if you have questions for Tremaine in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.